Sonia Barrett here once again, and it's time for another chit chat where I spend a few minutes talking about whatever comes to my mind. And today, what I want to talk about is stop waiting to be validated and to be qualified by other people. That is a very common theme. I think through all of us at some point, we have all lived that, needing to be validated. The thing is that it is such a subtle thing. Even when you think that's not what you're doing, that's what you're doing. And the reason why this happens is that, we come to the table with all of our childhood stuff. We come to the table with all of our relationship stuff, whether it be a romantic relationship or our relationship with our families, friends, things that people have said about you, maybe, things that you tried to do and, you can never seem to have success at it, and it's just, the layers are deep. And so what happens is this, we can spend our life doing things to gain validation from other people. And in that validation, we're looking to be qualified. We're looking to be qualified as either successful or qualified as being just good, or qualified as being caring, just a list of things. Oh, he or she is so nice, oh, they're so giving, oh, they always look out for other people, and the list just goes on. Oh, they will just give you the shirt off their back, whatever the case may be. And it's not just from that perspective. Let's just go back a little bit to even parents, even your childhood. You might not have felt that you were capable or good enough, or you are you make a lot of mistakes, or you always just screw up. I mean, maybe that's what you heard. And so what happens is this: people grow up, whatever that really means, but they get bigger in body because they're still the same child technically. And now you choose the job you choose, or the career you choose. And it sometimes it's really about proving to somebody that you could do it, proving that you're worth it. Business projects that you might get into, and maybe you failed at several business attempts that you've made, so now you feel like a failure. And now the tape plays um, from your past. It could be it could be a spouse, it could be somebody in the family, it could be whatever. So whoever made that kind of impression on you, that you just can't succeed. You just can't seem to get any project off the ground, or maybe succeed in your career, or whatever the case may be. The bottom line is that I've heard this a number of times, where the person will say, now, you're going to show them. You can't wait to show them what a success you are, or you can't wait to show them what you've achieved. And you know what I always say? Who cares? Who gives a flying what about whether that person sees what you've done, what success you've made? It's all an illusion to you to think that you are showing them something, or you're proving to them that you're worthy, or that you're capable. And other people will say, even in a relationship where you've been what we've defined as wronged or victimized, and now you got into a relationship where everything is great, and now there's that sense of showing them, or showing them what they missed out on, or what they could have had. This is nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. Again, you've lived the life you've lived when you lived it, because that's just the way it was at that moment. Now you may be in a completely different space, but it has nothing to do with proving to anybody that you're worthy, and having them come back and go, I didn't think you were going to be able to do it, but you did it. Because I tell you what, that's going to be short lived. The feeling you're going to get from thinking that you prove something to somebody, it's a quick high. And then it's short lived. Now what? Is that part of you really fed? Is that really gone? Or do you need to keep upping yourself, and for the sake of now continuing to show what a success you are, or how capable you are? You know, everybody has their own stuff dealing with. And so the people that we're trying to get validation from, whether it be our parents or our peers or whoever, they've got their own stuff that they're dealing with. So even if they have said something to you in the past, you have to look at the fact that everybody comes to the table with all of their issues, for lack of a better word, all of those things that they're working with, all of their patterns and imprints, and we just sort of circulate the stuff with each other and bounce off of each other. And in a very grand way, we do assist each other in transcending these patterns and imprints when we get it, when we understand, and when we can see that this is precisely what this is: an opportunity to be whole, an opportunity to get your own validation, your own inner awareness that I can do this. I don't even like to say that I am worthy or I'm worth it, because that means that in some other context you're not. The possibility of not being worth it or not being worthy exists. And in my world and in my reality, I don't think of it that way, that I'm worthy or I'm worth it. I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not optional. Who I am and what I'm doing is what I'm doing. And when you do something and it doesn't work, I mean, I've done a lot of things, in my life, business wise. And, were they all what you call extremely fruitful? Not monetarily, but they were fruitful in what I gained from it. Now, somebody may look on at you and go, my God, that person is always trying to do something else, and they never seem to be making a headway with it. Why don't they get over it already? But then that person who's saying that is stuck in a routine and would never dare take a chance on, attempting to do what you're doing. They're playing it safe. They're operating in safe mode. And that's fine for that person. I'm saying all of this to point that out to the individual, that person, whatever they have to say, it doesn't matter. It has no importance, in all honesty. It has no importance, because they're looking on, and it helps them to validate why it's important for them to keep playing it safe, because they get to avoid the pitfalls, and those pitfalls can be anything from running out of money, not having money in their savings, or their 401k, messing up their 401k, or losing their home, going into foreclosure. All these constructed stuff and concepts that we have in this reality, all these things that we're supposed to aspire to, we're supposed to look at or use it to define our success and failures. And to me, failure. I read that line somewhere a long time ago. That if there were such a thing as failure, failure would be never having tried. That's really what that would be, is never having tried, never having tapped into your imagination and took a chance, and to just go ahead and dream and try something, not based on proving anything, but just because you say to yourself, you know what? I think I want to try this. I want to try to do this. It's all about you. It's all about you and the joy of bringing forth something from your own imagination. That's what we do. We create. We are here to allow creativity to flow, whatever that may be, in whatever way that may be, without judging ourselves. And for every moment every time we do this and it appears that we fall, there is something that is learned from that. And you take that information and you move it, you use it to apply to the next thing that you may attempt to do. But my talk right now is really to emphasize the importance of doing what you do in your life based on the simple fact of just wanting to do it, not wanting to get validation or to be qualified by anybody. I have seen people do that. And then they're still disappointed because they did all this stuff. Either they went back to school or they got their degree. They got 3 or 4 different college degrees, and maybe they were trying to get value, from a parent, look good in a parent's eyes, or a spouse, or somebody that they consider to be that important to them, or the things that they've said, or how that person has viewed them to be that significant. They want to prove to something outside of them. And then that person, they don't get the response that they were looking for. That person still doesn't give them the validation that they were hoping to get. And I've seen this with parents, child with parents. I know a friend some long time ago. Parents wanted him to become a doctor. He became a lawyer. The parents were disappointed in him because he became a lawyer and not a doctor. It's like, and yet between the two, that person still did not live their dream, which was music. It had nothing to do with law. It had nothing to do with medicine. It was music. But because we're sort of conditioned to to do these things, or to operate in a way that will validate us and will qualify us in whatever these categories and concepts are, that are socially acceptable, and also family acceptable, parent acceptable, peers acceptable. That is what we live. And even when you go back to school, you say to yourself, you know what? I want to go back to get my degree. Do it because you want to, because in you, you know what? You're just saying to yourself, I think I want to do that. Like for me, I actually like the idea of learning. I actually like school. I like college for that whole feeling. I like the college campus atmosphere. And maybe, yeah, if I didn't have all this going on, I probably would just go do it just for fun, just because, you know. But the point is this: it's not because I'm going to prove something to somebody, because now I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my PhD so that I can show you that I have my PhD. And then it puts me in this whole other category of this person, this qualified or validated person. when you do that, again, there's still something missing in you. There's still a deficiency in you. There's a void that still needs to be filled because you still don't feel validated and qualified. Why? Because you have not validated your own self. You have not simply just accepted yourself for who you are. With all our, whatever we want to call flaws, just accept yourself. And if you don't want to go to back to school just because you just don't feel it, then don't do it. If you're doing it to please somebody, eventually it just kind of backfires. And again, all of these things become an accumulation, an emotional accumulation in us. And disease, sickness stems from all of these the emotional baggage that we carry. We can eat junk food. We can eat, meat. We can eat, what we would define as the most low frequency food. And I tell you what, if you're eating that, all of those things that I just mentioned, and you are in a space where you're ever so content and satisfied with who you are, and you're so free with it, and you're so free with other people, with whatever it is they do, it matters not to you, and you're just okay with yourself, that food will affect you a lot less, honesty. And of course, yes, and then you put another level on that with your awareness, your consciousness from what we would call a spiritual perspective. But what I just defined as somebody who's in that kind of satisfaction, that is the spirit, that is a spiritual evolution right there. So your body doesn't spend so much time processing all those heavier emotions. It can process the food, it can eliminate, it can transmute, it can do, the frequency of the food, so it's not becoming so acid in one's body. There's a lot that's going on, within you, that has to do with our emotional state, how we think, what we believe, very much so. And then you can get somebody who eats well, they do yoga, they're vegetarian or vegan, or they're doing, and they're raw foodies, but then they get sick. We have to look at the emotional component. We have to be honest with ourselves about what we truly feel about ourselves. Are we quietly trying to impress other people, trying to live this certain image, this character, but it's so much work. It's heavy, and you want to put it down, but you can't put it down because now you created this illusion. It's a lot of work to hold that up. It's like it's like a shapeshifter to some degree. Shapeshifter, perhaps, and we see this in movies. Shapeshifter who can hold a certain form, and that maybe it can hold that certain form for only so long, and then the whole body starts to react, and then they have to either shift back to what their original form is. Well, you can think of it that way, because that's basically what it is. A lot of shape shifting going on in terms of the character that we play for the outside world, the mask that we wear for the people on the outside. So again, for me, honestly, everything I do when I'm doing this film, it was really about the fact that it was just me, and I just wanted to do this. It wasn't about saving the world. It wasn't about any of that. It was really about, what? I really want to do this thing. I've never done it before, but I'm going to try to do it, and set out to do it from that standpoint. Again, the same thing with when I wrote the holographic canvas. Was I thinking, oh my God, people are going to love it or not going to love it? No, I wasn't thinking that, not for the book, not for the film, not with when I go do a lecture, not with anything that I do, because I learned from the hardcore experience that it really, in the end, is really all about me and how I feel. And I think because when we're operating from that space, you're actually bringing into your hologram um, more, what we should say, people, then more resonance, more of those who will resonate with what you're doing, because you don't have the polarized thing going of wondering, if they're going to like it, if they're not going to like it. It doesn't really matter to you, because you're not doing this for them. Nobody asked you to do it. That's my take. Nobody asked me to do this video. Nobody asked me to do anything that I am doing. I am doing it because I want to do it. And for me, when I finally realized how that worked and cemented that, it made my life so much easier. I was freer, because there was no obligation to anybody worried that, things they weren't gonna like it, or they weren't gonna accept me. Even if I did a lecture somewhere and people didn't like it, um, it wouldn't, honestly, what would it matter? If you think about it, what would it matter if people didn't like the lecture that I did? Would I still live? Would I still be breathing? Absolutely. I would still be breathing, and I would just chalk that up to an experience that I obviously was open to having. And perhaps, I'm sure I would have learned something from it. I would have gotten something from it. And it's okay. It's all about all these little games, all these little pockets of experiences that we compile, layers of it, and we have them. That's all we do here is experience. We just have experiences. That is why we're here. So you look at it from that standpoint, and when you're ready to really see that way, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of you, not having to live up to anybody's expectations and validations, and all that you have told yourself about why you need to do it will go away. And what you will find is that when you allow yourself to be free, to be truly who you are and do what you do truly because you're passionate about it and because you want to, you will find that the people who you were so worried about, they actually they're actually, shift into a whole other thought process, or they just go away. One way or another, it just balances out, because it is your space, it is your hologram. It's the only reason why they're interacting with you. It is your zone, your slice of reality, your story, your matrix that you are operating in, your matrix, your hologram, however you want to define it. But it's all virtual. It's all a virtual experience. Um, and that's really important. You come back to that space. It's all a virtual experience. So when I say something matters and it doesn't matter, you listen to the words, listen to the play on words. When something matters, it crystallizes. You crystallize your life. You crystallize all these things in your life that you allow to matter. They matter. They don't matter, then there's no crystallization. Your focus is not embedded in those ideas or thoughts or concepts or beliefs, and so it's not crystallized. So think about that, and I certainly hope that this will have assisted someone there today, especially with the idea of entering into a new cycle in the game. Simply what it is, a new cycle in this matrix. This is just one concept of the matrix anyway, one idea of what reality is. So anyway, Again, visit the website, spiritinform.com. Do check out thebusinessofdisease.com. Lots coming with that. And let's see, what else is there? And subscribe to my YouTube channel. And, if you think anybody else will benefit from it, then tell them to also visit my YouTube channel, spiritinform.com. All right? Thank you so much. Have an amazing entrance into the news cycle. Until next time. See you then.